Right, good evening everyone, and welcome to our second webinar for coaches. It's a webinar for coaches by coaches. So everyone is welcome to be here, but it's really for coaches that we put this whole thing together. For most of you, I'm sure it feels like 40 days and 40 nights of this lockdown, and it literally is. It's day 40 of lockdown in South Africa. We've made it this far, but I don't know how long our finances is going to take it. So that's why we're all here. We've moved from stage 5 onto stage 4 now, but for most of us, nothing has changed. We still can't coach, we can't help our clients, and yeah, we're pretty stuck. So that brings us back to, let's have this talk together amongst our coaches and also people that are non-coaching that could maybe give us some ideas. How can we get remote or online solutions in trying to help our athletes? Let's try and help them get closer to reaching their dreams, supporting them where we need to. So this whole story of looking for online solutions and remote possibilities, it's really also trying to find a long-term approach to this. Things will never be the same. We can't go back to the way it was. So a blended approach is definitely going to be the way to go. We will never be able to replace the one-on-one, because without a horse, we don't have the equestrian. So, but maybe it's also time to bring in more theory stuff. I don't know if you guys also had it as kids at the riding schools. If it rained, then we all had to go indoors and learn how the saddle works and take a thing apart, whatever. So that kind of important stuff that we never get time for in our practical sessions is maybe now is a good time to invest in that a little bit. Maybe have a little bit of this campfire gathering with all your athletes around. So it's all possibilities that we can do, but how are we going to do it? That's why we've got this webinar today. We've got some people who know what they're talking about from the different spheres of this online realm. And we are not advertising for anyone. We are not affiliated to anyone. This really is just an exercise in collating information to trigger a thought process and see what is out there, know what's out there, see what the possibilities are. That's what it's all about. So without further ado, let me not take over this whole talking session. Our first subject that we're going to talk about is cell phones and the apps that can be used. Now, from our experience, there's not really an equestrian coaching app out there that that's customized for our coaches. So we looked outside the equestrian sport a little bit, and yeah, found some exciting apps out there, and that's why we've got Chris van der Mesht here to talk to us about cell phone apps and how it can be customized for equestrians. And yeah, if any of you guys, if you could listen to him, and if you've got any questions, please write it in the chat area. Please start with the word question so that we can just filter it quickly and not get lost in all this. And yeah, if Regula is behind the scenes helping us all putting this whole thing together. So Regula, thank you for doing this. Regula, please, if you could, if we could get Chris on. Chris, are you there?
Jaco, I am.
Great, Chris.
You guys could see me. Could I share my screen? Is that good if I do that?
You can share your screen. You can go ahead. And thank you for taking the time to being here. I know you're not from the equestrian side, so yeah, thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much. Nice to be with you guys. And let me just start with this. Maybe I shouldn't cancel it. Just going to jump out of that. Jaco, you know, as a point of departure, with every upside or every downside, rather, there must be an upside, and that's the way I live. That's the thing I believe in. And what I want to introduce to you guys is I think a very simple thing. And if I say simple, it is tech-based. I'm 57 years old. I have no tech background. I feel like a whiz when I work here, not because I'm good, but because as simple as this is. So as a point of departure is, how do we stay relevant in our world of work? And I also put in there play, also the world of sport. I do a lot of work in sport across the country, including SA Netball, SA Tennis, the Blue Bulls, and they have the same question. It says, how do we create real value for our customer, if we call it a customer or support base, but also how do we redefine our own role? And hence why I was keen when you said, I could have a couple of minutes with you guys. I was keen to jump at it. But I'm going to start off with, if I call it a point of departure, the traditional role of the coach. I'd love to challenge that, because the traditional role of the coach is a technical expert that works one-on-one or one-on teams, but they don't necessarily see themselves as the central point of a community. I mean, all roads lead to the coach, whether it's parents, whether it's supporters, whether it's but all roads lead there. However, a lot of the guys don't see themselves as that. They see themselves as a technical expert, and therefore the technical side of their business is fantastic, but the commercial, the business side is not as well developed. And therefore, what I want to suggest is a very, very simple strategy. Very, very simple. Lockdown is a blessing, because what it does is it gives us the ability through technology to broaden our horizons. No longer are we caught in the Northern Cape, Eastern Cape, or wherever you guys are listening in from, but we can access a global audience and influence a global audience. The technology is available and simple to use. And with that, there's just a snag. And I'm going to get to this quickly, but there's a snag. We're going to figure out what is our value proposition. And if we understand our value proposition, if I look at the CVs that I assume sit in, listening to me right now, I probably would have the Hall of Famers that sit there, top coaches, that if they would be given an opportunity to design a value proposition and ask the question, would people pay for it? I would probably get a lot of yes in that. But what you've got to do is you've got to create value where it's the coach and the end user. And I like your intro when you said you're not affiliated to. It says you've got to get rid, heavens, it sounds so harsh when I say that. You shouldn't have a lot of middlemen, or if in any, but you've got to create value from the coach right to the end user. And therefore, very, very simply, the technology that I'm introducing is Team App. Team App is an Australian-based technology. It is built for sport. It is agnostic to any particular sport. Simple to use, will help you to manage. Well, let me go. Create large, there's no membership restrictions, large communities, can manage any flow of communication back and forward. You can plug in any URL-based camera so that you can do live streaming. You don't have to be at a specific site to see what one of your athletes do, because you can build that into this. But you've got that functionality. A whole host of features that come with it. I've sent a presentation that you guys can, or Jaco, you can send out to the guys afterwards. But that's Team App. It comes at, please hang on to your seats. It comes at zero cost. Nothing is free. This is. But secondly, I also have represent athlete monitoring. Athlete monitoring is a standard that is used across codes all over the world, whereby you can develop training, call it regimes or protocols for your athletes. You can monitor their wellness. You can monitor their health. All of that sits in athlete monitoring. That's a Canadian-based solution. And then we also use Team Store. If you have content that you want to set up a digital store for your audience, you can do that. Prices very quickly. It comes at no cost, Team App. It has in-app advertising to fund it. If you want to buy that out, then it's 4,000 Rand per year, and then you have the rights to add in it, and you own the revenue that comes from it. Athlete monitoring, 3 levels, there are the rates. And again, from an end user perspective, both of those technologies, absolutely simple to use. That's my 5 minutes that I said I would have. Questions? Jaco, any questions?
Thank you very much, Chris. That was quite interesting. Like I said, we don't have anything app-wise for equestrian coaches. So let's just quickly see if we've got, is anyone got any questions, please? Right, if you want anything asked, please. Lorette, I see you there. I know you bursting to ask that question. How long is it going to take to get it customized for us, Chris? If you could, whatever, say we want to buy in. What is the process? How do we do it?
Okay, so if you, Jaco, I'm going to use you as an example. If tonight you want a team app platform available for your member, I can have you up and running in, now don't please, 10 minutes from now, given a logo and an understanding of the community that you'd like to create. The only reason why I say 10 is because you'll have to send me some content. So let's say half an hour up and running from nothing to full team app functionality. For athlete monitoring, it is the same. You can have your athletes, it's going to take me as long as I would have to import your membership into it. It's a quick import. It's a mass import into the system. So no time. All of you could have an app in minutes.
Thank you, Chris. Some questions here. What does your app actually do for us? Does it offer virtual lessons? Can we, like, what do we do? What does it do for us?
I'm going to do two things. I'm going to first talk athlete monitoring. If you have an audience in athlete monitoring, you can then start to design training programs for them, publish it, they self-report, and you can track progress. You can track progress as they develop from where they started, their own progress, or against age groups, or against international standards. That's athlete monitoring. You can track their wellness. The system will flag if there's anything untowards. They're unwell, they're sick, whatever the case may be, system will flag it. Again, they self-report. You will have the ability to interact with your audience and enjoy the value of knowing. That's athlete monitoring. Team app, you can do everything from scheduling events, from distributing content, documents, registration forms, all of that. Team app.
I don't know how to use the chat messaging thing. I'm quite new to Zoom, guys. So we could basically, as Farnham Stables, you would be able to do this for us, Chris?
Yes, I would. I would be able to. I would imagine.
Sorry. Then it's not a public. I'll actually put my video on, then you can see me. Then it's not a public forum. Then it's purely locked into Farnham Stables as our high performance center.
Yeah, Lorette, it's a closed community platform, both of them. Athlete monitoring would have zero in-app advertising. And in both those instances, you would have to invite, or rather not invite, first invite, but then even if you've invited me, you'd have to approve my request to come in.
Right. This sounds really nice, Jaco, really nice. I don't know if you can earn any income in the long term, but I think it's nice for initially now. Jaco? Okay, I'm going off, guys.
Yeah, I think, like we said, we're going to have to be an upgraded approach. Sorry, like a blended approach in this. So it's not only going to be team app. I think it's one of the tools that we can use to support and get our athletes, keep them motivated, and so on. And I think, how can we upload our own information on both these apps? I'm sure, Chris, that will be quite easy. So it's a little bit high tech stuff for most of the people here. But I think this is just to open the gate and get us talking and introduce the app there.
Jaco, can I ask another question? Do you think we would be able, Chris, would we be able to cross-pollinate? So by cross-pollinate, I mean, so Jaco's got his dressage pupils in Kimberley, and I've got my show jumping pupils here in Johannesburg. Would we be able to share content, not necessarily publicly, but within the app? And possibly to keep people motivated. So like, Jaco, you probably have a host of show jumping riders that you do flat work with in Kimberley, that would possibly want to benefit from, say, Barry's exercises or things like that we don't necessarily want to just chuck out onto Facebook. You'd want it in-house. So a cross-pollination of, say, two clubs, Jaco's dressage club in Kimberley or Kathu, and ours here in Joburg.
Lorette, the biggest app at this stage in Australia is 35,000 members in Team app. And then what I do is I create smaller pockets or smaller communities. I'll take your community, Jaco's community, and whoever else's community, put them into small, let's call it the equivalent of a WhatsApp group.
Yes, yes.
Therefore, they will see content specific to that. I'm going to call it WhatsApp, just for the sake of
Yes.
illustration. But if you want to share something across all of that, and hence your cross-pollination, you can do that. It's just a matter of, and it's simple. It sounds so easy. It sounds difficult. It's a matter of selecting who you want to send what to, and you just tick off a menu. I want to send it to you, but not to someone else.
Right.
So yes, you can.
Okay, sure. Okay, thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Chris, thank you for your time. We have to move on. We're a little bit stuck on time here. So I would like to go on to the next subject, and we're talking about online web portals, website possibilities, so on. We're going to ask Lisa Tobias. She's been in the equestrian scene for many, many years, so she knows exactly where we're coming from. And yeah, Lisa, can you tell a little what your website is, whatever? And yeah, I don't want to cut you short, but I have to cut you short. We're a little bit tough on time, so if you can just quickly throw out there, what can we expect? And everyone, keep your questions ready.
Yeah, hi. Am I there? Am I live?
You are live. We can hear you. Yes.
Okay, hi everybody. As Jaco says, I've been involved in the riding environment for a long time, and I've competed in a number of different disciplines, some of them more successfully than others. But it led me to develop within my website business a application, if you like, where I was about to launch the opportunity to compete online, where you can actually set up videos and photographic competitions. Unfortunately, that got shut down at the beginning of March by FEI and SAEF in this country, who said that the playing fields were not level and we couldn't compete and have people entering videos and submitting videos in different conditions. So I've rethought the entire concept, and the move is now over to offering a training venue or training portal. The name of the site is Thinking Riding Online, and it's designed to encourage riders to actually think about what they're doing, not just get on a horse and ride. Think about what you're doing and focus on training yourself, upskilling yourself, understanding what it is that you're doing in your riding. So the structure is going to be on a number of different levels, and I could probably fit in with Chris on this. Thinking riding will actually then accommodate thinking dressage, thinking showing, thinking equitation, thinking show jumping, whatever sport you're actually competing in. I'm not trying to take over what the disciplines are doing themselves. This is going to enhance what they're doing. As Jaco said up front, theory is very sadly lacking. Coaches have a limited time with their pupils, tends to be on average about 40 to 45 minutes per lesson, and the focus is on riding. The focus is not on the theory. You might give people homework to do. It's very unlikely that they're actually going to go and do it properly in the theory side. So my site will be aimed at having somebody take ownership of each type of discipline. I've already got people involved in the showing and dressage, and today got someone in the equitation side. I'd like to get Western people involved, where they will support what I'm doing by encouraging the coaches in those areas to submit short video clips, anything they may have written that can be in Word documents or PDF files, and we will log them into the actual portal. Then people, clients, can sign on as a member, and there'll be different membership levels for a year. It'll give an opportunity to access that material, and people can then go on, look at the material, complete a short quiz on that material, and then go home and practice. And it can be something as simple as, let's take a showing thing, how to plait a horse to enhance your horse's neck. You'll go learn about that, and then we'll run, not a competition, but a training sequence where you'll submit photographs of how your horse has been plaited, and you'll be judged, but not judged to stand to win a place, judged or given feedback rather, so that you can go back and improve, and you can submit again for the same fee. From a dressage perspective, you'll learn movements, and you can then go and do a test like a ride and go. So you'll pay for 2 tests, submit one, get feedback from a judge and a qualified judge in every case, and do it again. All done online. I've got a dedicated YouTube channel, and it's not made available to the public. It's only made available to those judges. The other benefit of all of this is those videos can be used to support training judges as well. So there's a two-way street here. You're training on training the rider, and you're training the learner judges as well. It's not limited to entry level, although that is where the primary focus will be. People coming from SINISA, from riding schools, that don't have access to high quality trainers. It's too expensive for them, or they've, in the case of a riding school, they've got too many horses and people to ever get to shows. Now, this is something that can be used. I could set up a mock event, if you like, for a riding school, and they can all submit videos just from their riding school. Nobody else sees it. So it will just go to a judge, have their comments recorded, and I've worked out a very easy way to do that, and it works on WhatsApp. And people get feedback on what they're actually doing. How the coaches benefit is that a number of hopefully different coaches will get involved in submitting their own material and being able to access other coaches' material. So they may also learn. You might be battling to explain a certain concept to somebody. Someone else might have an easier way of doing it. And I want the coaches to actually be paid. If they're going to fall in as judges as well, if that is a role they have, they will be paid per person that they judge for their internet time and their time. So it's not a free service. People will be paying, call it entry fees. It's not as such entry fees because it's not a show, but they will be paying for that person's professional evaluation of their skill. So the coaches can get paid, the judges can get paid. The amounts, I've worked out that they'll get about 30 Rand per person that they evaluate in terms of a fee, and then their internet fee will be covered as well. So that's broadly what it is. So the concept, the website is thinkingridingonline.coza. It's under construction now. It will be up in 2 weeks. I've just got to redo what I had previously done, but it's very simple. People will log on, they'll join as a member, they'll log into one or more disciplines depending on what they want to do, and go from there. How long was that, Jaco?
I think that was actually pretty perfect. Thank you very much, Lisa. Is there any questions out there for anyone? Like I said, this is just now an example of what is possible from a website point of view. Now, I know there's a couple of coaches out there who is asking for people to send them videos, and then the coach can then, in retrospect, look at the video and give some feedback into it. So that's pretty much out there, and all these websites and web portals make it possible for us to get close to that. Like Lisa said, maybe they will reverse this whole thing of competing online and so on. So it's all of these things are possibilities, and thinking what's out there. Darlene Buxa, have you got anything from tent pegging? Have you got anything to ask maybe or say with regards to how it would affect your sport or impact on it? Please, Darlene, you can come on.
Hi, Jaco. Welcome. For us here, it's lekker. Yes, tent pegging, we have started thinking in that way. I'm very much involved with the international tent pegging as well, and we've started some online things just onto Facebook and showing out our style. And this has been, I suppose many of you have been there, a lifelong dream where you want to put something out there. And tent pegging is actually very easy to coach online if you just concentrate on the style of the rider. And Lisa, if possible, I really would like to get involved with you there. They have actually asked me from the UK to judge some online pictures on their website just as a game, that they started playing there. So please, how do I get hold of you and to work together with you? That would be great. Thanks, Jaco.
Okay, thank you. So we will, for all of our speakers, at the end of the session, we're going to put a little slide up with all their contact details, whether if anyone wants to get involved with it. And if anyone is out there that knows more people that can help and has got other ideas, that's why we're here. This is all a thinking tank. I'm glad to see that Natalie Hobday is here. I know that, for a long time, she's been traveling back and forth overseas and coming back, and just imagine how much flight time it would save someone like Natalie Hobday and Al Quirk, who's also here. if we could just get something a little bit more in the virtual sphere out there that can help us carry on giving a service and, you know, earning an income. So thank you very much, Lisa. Can we please, I'm going to ask that we move on to the next subject. And our next speaker is René van Son. I'm sure many of you out there of the coaches here, we're already using his system, you know, the walkie-talkie microphone system. And he's just going to tell us a little bit how to move from that radio, almost one-dimensional way into something a bit more visual. So René, thank you for being here. And yeah, if you could tell us a bit more, thank you.
Thank you, Jaco. I don't see myself. I hope you see me.
We can see you. You're right there, and okay. We can hear you too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me for this webinar. Basically, what I import radio coaching systems, like the one-dimensional, you call it, the receiver for the rider and the transmitter for the instructor. Somebody asked me for this funny COVID lockdown, when I'm in the Free State, can I teach somebody in Gauteng, for example, in Johannesburg, using the connector, but with a remote connection? And I explained, yes, you can. I tested it, and it only takes a cable that's less than 100 rands to connect two phones with the connector system, the instruction system. And I made a slide, and I'll change that and I'll show you now. 1 second, please. Just to share my screen. And then you should be able to see this. Can you see that? The slide?
Not yet.
Oh, it should be in the, let me see. I'm good with technology, but somehow this, I see somebody else. Oh, let me see, this should.
Sorry, we can't.
Sorry.
That's it, that's better.
This is it, huh? Can you see the full size, or should I reduce it a little bit? Oh, here.
Maybe if you just press F5, then it will show you the whole thing.
I think here we are.
There you are.
Fantastic. Yeah? Can you see my cursor or not? Well, just explain. Okay, the instructor has a smartphone. In the middle, on the side in the arena, is another smartphone, and you connect the two with WhatsApp. And the instructor uses the voice mode of WhatsApp, and I call it the camera woman in the arena, uses the video call option. Then the sound goes from the instructor, the smartphone, to the cell phone in the arena, and we connect the cell phone to the, in this case, the connector set that you see, to the transmitter, and the transmitter sends the sound of the instructor to the rider on the horse through the earpiece that's connected to the receiver. So that's your normal connector set on the right. The trick is you can connect the two cell phones with video from the arena. So the instructor in, for example, the Free State can see the rider and give instructions that go into the ear of the rider through the cell phone and the connector transmitter set. So basically you use it as a normal, for the rider it doesn't really make a difference, it's just you add the cell phone for the video that goes to the instructor. And all you need is a cable. When you have a connector system, a one-way system or a two-way system, I tested everything, it will work. You just add that music cable that you buy in any cell phone shop. So basically that's the remote connection for an instructor and a rider. And of course, it's the instructor can sit at home and the rider can be on the horse at home. I think that's what's allowed now, that people can ride horses at home, but you need lessons then. So that's the connection that you establish. So it takes a connector set on the side where the rider is, and a smartphone. Well, most of the people have a smartphone using WhatsApp, and the instructor has uses his own or her cell phone. That's basically how you can remotely instruct live. Of course, not everybody has a set, but I have them on stock. And people who already have a set should make sure that it's at the yard for multiple riders there, which is not an option yet, but in the next levels, people will be allowed to go to yards to ride their horse and take lessons. But for now, it's only allowed for people that have horses at their home, at the property. When they have a full set of the connector, they can use the smartphone to make the connection with the instructor. One option is that the rider, when they are done with the lesson, takes the connector set to the next rider, or people buy their own connector set also for future use, and connect with the instructor when they have a lesson planned. That's in short the story of the cable, and the rest is nothing extra, except when you don't have a connector set yet.
Thank you, Renee. Renee, we've got one question here. What is the cost of your walkie-talkie set and then this little cable? You said it's inexpensive, but can you give us an idea of what your set is and the whole cost of it?
Yes. So this set, that's the bestseller set. That's called the connector. So it has a wired earpiece for the rider and a microphone like this.
Sorry, Renee, can you just lift it up a little bit higher? Your camera is a bit low. Okay. Yes, that's better. Yeah. That's it. Perfect.
Okay. So this is for the instructor, that's you in your case, because I know that you have one, and multiple people on this platform now have one. We even have a guy, an Irish guy in the US, I think, who has a two-way system for the clinics that he does in South Africa. And this is for the rider. So transmitter, receiver. This set, including all accessories, is 4,950 rands. It's a little bit higher than in the past because it's the dollar exchange rate, and I didn't adjust the prices for 2 years. So this was the time to do that. So this is a one-on-one system, 4,950. This is a one-way system, but with a wireless Bluetooth style earpiece. That is 5,150 rands. Then we have a two-way system. I don't have it here, but I have it on stock. And that is 5,450. So normally the rider can talk back, but now with the remote teaching, it's a one-way system. But for future use after the lockdown, it's a two-way system. So the rider talks back, it's an open line, or you can just activate the talk back function when the rider wants to talk with the instructor in the arena.
Thank you very much, Renee. And I think for many of you out there who bought stuff from Renee, now you know what it looks like. So
with a microphone.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. And yeah, we will again put your details also on at the end. Yes. And if there's any questions more, then we can put it on. And then we can please. Yes, sorry.
Yes, the website. All information is there.
Instructaudio.co.za. So yes, we will put it on.
The cable you can get in the cell phone shop for between 50 and 100 rands.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Renee. Thank you for your time, and thank you for coming to show your product to us. I think now we're getting a little bit closer to having almost like a hologram type thing that we could use. They all said in that TV series Beyond 2000 when we were small that one day we're going to be driving in the year 2000. We're going to be driving in a spaceship. Well, I'm still driving an Isuzu, hell of a lot better than a Ford or a Toyota, but yeah, it's still not a spaceship. But maybe, you know, with all these technology, and we're forced to do things now a little bit that's out of our comfort zone. Maybe we could get there.
Yeah, it's a little twist that I came up with, but it works, and it's
thank you very much.
It's not a spaceship.
Thank you, Renee. Okay, our last speaker is Donovan Wilson. So he's from the Pixio system. And if I'm not mistaken, the walkie-talkie system that goes with it would be the C Coach, if I'm not mistaken. But Donovan is going to tell us more a little bit about that. So what the Pixio system is and the price of it, the application and how it works and so on. So Donovan, welcome and thank you for coming to share with us.
Only a pleasure. Thank you, Jaco. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'm also going to try and do the share screen story. So I'm going to play a video in the background that's going to show the Pixio that actually works with a remote coach. I don't have the pricing on me currently because Pixio is obviously based in France and they're also going through the COVID lockdown drama that we've gone through. So pricing is a little bit difficult at the moment, but if anyone wants to contact me for it, they're more than welcome to, and I can give them updated pricing with the exchange rate. While I talk, this is how the Pixio works with the remote live coach. So basically it's a robot camera that you mount on the ground with a tripod. It records everything, the movement, zooms in, zooms out, and follows the rider while they're in process. The nice thing with this is that it records to a micro SD card as well, that either the rider or the coach can take back and review it later. So if you do have a rider with complications, you can actually go back and say, look here, fix this, change this. The Pixio Live Coach streams with an internet connection on site at the training yard via Skype or FaceTime. You can then stream to wherever the coach is, also with the internet connection. I think this is quite a decent connection, a solution for exactly what you guys are trying to do with the training setup, especially having to go back to the rider's training session saying, you have gone wrong here, look at this. With Renee's solution, I don't know if it would work. I suspect, yes, it can, that you've got his audio system connected to the Pixio. Obviously, Pixio has only tested it with a C Coach, and that's what they recommend, but I can't see why it won't work with Renee's solution as well. Basically, that's it. It's a camera that follows you around while you're training.
Thank you, Donovan. The question still is, what type of money are we talking about? Is it a couple of hundred? Is it a couple of thousand? Is it tens of thousands? Is it 100,000? Where ballpark? I know it's difficult to say, but just give us an idea.
Basically, there's three solutions with the Pixio. You get the PixSim, where you use your own smartphone or tablet that you connect to it. The live remote coaching with it is a license per month. So I don't recommend that necessarily because it's going to cost you a hell of a lot more in the year than just buying the Pixio Live Coach. The live coach, you're looking between 30 to 40,000 Rand as a once-off purchase. But that will be for the stable yard. And every coach would log into that Pixio and do their training session. So it's not necessarily a coach by themselves. It's a yard that would use it.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Donovan. I see there's a question from Debbie. I heard a rumor that owners may go and visit their horses. Is this true? Well, Debbie, I don't. We don't know yet. If we can maybe just stick a little bit to the relevant subject here. Anyone else who wants to ask a question about the Pixio system? I mean, we've got Donovan right here, so this is your chance to do it. I've got here on my phone also a question for you, Donovan. Let me just see. Yeah, how technologically clever must you be in order to set this thing up?
It does take a little bit of working. Even I've battled with it and I like technology. You have to follow the instructions step by step. If you're like me that thinks, after I know what I'm doing and just carry on, you're not going to win with it because the sensors have to be a certain height that they can all pick up correctly. The camera has to be in the right position to pick up the sequence. If you follow the steps in the user manual, you won't have any problems. If you don't follow the steps, you're going to battle.
Okay, thank you. And then there's someone asking, can I see my horse?
Well, while you're training with it, yes, the camera is going to zoom out and in depending on how close you are to the beacon and the camera. So yes, you'll see your horse, you'll see yourself.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Right. Thank you very much. If there's any more questions, now's your time. It says, hi, Donovan. Not so much a question, but we've been doing a lesson video calls on WhatsApp with Bluetooth headphones with my husband following me around the arena. So the camera looks super cool.
Yeah. That's the big thing with the picture that most people like about it, is that you plonk it down in a corner and it does the work for you. You don't have to sit around following someone around trying to zoom in and out and missing what you're actually watching yourself. Pixio is also FEI approved.
Okay, there's another question here. What is the range the Pixio can pick up?
So
let's
the
talk about
Pixio
zoom and connection.
So basically, the Pixio to the beacons will pick up roughly 100 meters. So your dressage arena, your jumping arena is not really bigger than 100 meters. If you do go out of the range, the zoom's just going to stop, but it's still going to follow you around.
Okay, and then another question, where are they available and how do we get them?
You can buy them through me directly, through my website or through myself. Obviously, with this whole arrangement, I'd like to obviously offer someone the best pricing I can because of our current situation. So if whoever wants to contact me, they must please say referring to our webinar, and I will get the best pricing I can from Pixio. Obviously, if we're ordering more units in quantity, I can get much better pricing.
That's it, Donovan. So this is the stuff we want to hear, that we can save some money by just being part of this
Yeah.
coaching webinar here. So thank you very much. Then another question. Does the Pixio work indoors? I'm sure Tanya could see it once you set it up in her kitchen and coach her husband how to cook now during these times. Like, can it be used in an indoor arena?
Pixio has actually been created for churches with the priests walking around giving presentations, for people doing cooking shows, obviously horses, tennis players, soccer players. It's actually created for any kind of movement presentation that you need to do.
Thank you. And then another question, what is the recommended internet speed for the Pixio to work optimally?
Recommended as quick as possible, but they say anything from about a 1 meg speed and up. Obviously, the slower the connection, the more of a delay you're going to have in either the video or the speech.
Okay, so even down there in Cape Town, Malmesbury area, it should be able to work okay, just depending on...
Yeah. If you've got a decent LTE, MTN or Vodacom connection, it should work fantastically. It has to be on both sides. So rider side and coach side, you need an internet connection.
Good, yeah. And for Lisa, this could be used to video test for the system that I wanted to use on my submission of videos. Yeah, so all of these things, really, this is how all of us can plug into each other and make this thing into a bigger thing. So yeah, please keep coming with the ideas, guys. From Trisha, we have been using Pixio for 9 months and it's fantastic. Yeah, so yeah, thank you very much, Donovan. That was yeah, nice to know what is out there. We are about at the end of our webinar, but thank you very much, all our guest speakers, for just opening the world up for us a little bit and telling us what is out there, what we could do, and how it all works. I'm sure this is not the end or the last one we're going to have. If I can ask regular, Donovan, if you can just unshare your screen.
Yeah,
or stop sharing your screen. Then regular can just put up all the details for you guys. So we're going to try to be on this webinar every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. We're going to try. So our next topic we're going to tackle is we're going to look into the practical things that we can do right now while we're in lockdown and not seeing our athletes. What can we do right now when we can't physically ride? What can we do for the horse and what can we do for the rider? So we again going to get some guest speakers to just come and tell us from the different areas. Maybe we just think off the top of our head, maybe get a vet to come and talk to us about what the horses go through, and from the riders, different possibilities. So that'll be next week, Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Here on your screen, you can see the contact details for all of our guest speakers tonight. Our email address is on there. So this is, again, we're not affiliated to anybody. I'm not here to represent anything. We're just coaches for coaches. So if you've got any questions or any ideas for these webinars, please go to this Equestrian Coach SA@gmail.com. Send us an email there. And then we will be uploading the recorded version of this webinar onto the Equestrian Coach SA YouTube channel. So you can go and find it there. I'm sure it's not the most exciting thing to see my face on it, but yeah, that's the best we can do for you now, guys. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you again next week, Tuesday. Thank you. And thank you, Regular, and good night, everyone. Stay safe.